viewers and participants and trainer. How are you? I think all of you are well. I'm also well, and this is the 5th day of the training SBT on English, and this is the second session. So in this session, the name of the topic IPT linked lesson plan. Dear honorable teachers, we know that there is no alternative of a good lesson plan for any systematic approach to teaching. We believe this. A well-written and properly used lesson plan can be a very worthwhile teaching aid. It is also a teaching aid. We can say it is a guideline for the teacher. How is a teacher we conduct the class or conduct the teaching learning activities? It helps us to step by step. So it is very essential to know as a teacher how to design a lesson plan. So this is that session, IPT linked lesson plan. The object of the session, by the end of the session, participants will be able to identify the basic components of IPT lesson plan. Already we have get a clear conception or idea from about IPT day 2 session 4. Writing learning outcomes of a lesson. Write and evaluate a lesson plan for English for today or EFT class 1 to 5. Explain the role of a lesson plan. This is the learning outcomes of this session, and from the very beginning, dear honorable teachers, here is a lesson plan. It is pick up from TMT book. There is a little bit difference here. IPT linked lesson plan and TMT based lesson plan. Here are pre-reading activities. Pre-reading activities pre-teach vocabulary in the text. Lexical set pre-teach vocabulary in the text. Lexical set, that is অভিধানিক অর্থ, এখানে আমরা ভোকাবুলারিটাকে শিখাবো মূলত। লেসন শুরু করার আগে নিউ ওয়ার্ডস অফ দ্যাট সেশন বা দ্যাট টপিক উই হ্যাভ টু ফাইন্ড আউট সাম ভোকাবুলারি। So in TMT guideline here added this type of activities. Tasks to engage with the topic to the text. Prediction the content using picture. Describe the picture by using describe the content by using the picture. It may be predicting questions for reading for gist. Here this is the 5 stages, and also another reading for primary. This is while reading activities. Stages reading for gist, that is skimming, scanning, that is the stages of reading. Scanning the text. Skimming হচ্ছে ভাষা উপরে উপরে দেখাটা, আর স্ক্যানিং হচ্ছে গভীরভাবে দেখা। প্রথমে at first we have to skimming the text, that is reading for gist, and then scanning the text. Scanning the text, that is tasks to reading for details. Focus on difficult words in the text. That may be new word for the students. Post-reading activities, speaking tasks and written tasks. This type of lesson plan provide from TMT, and here is a instructions to add this session, this TMT lesson plan. We also connection it with our IPT lesson plan. Okay, activity 1, identifying the basic components of IPT linked lesson plan. IPT linked lesson plans and TMT based lesson plans, there is not enough differences, a little bit differences here. IPT linked lesson plan, we know that almost here is 5 basic components, that is lesson title, learning outcomes, input activities, practice activities, tasks or checking learning activities. At first we have to provide some sheet of paper written this type of activities, and our training teacher will be rearrange it. Okay, then you have to show this. The IPT link lesson plan has 3 different but clear stages, and TMT based lesson plan also added some new ideas. Okay, the first one in the input, or that is presentation. In our new curriculum, it is presentation based activities. In these stages, the teacher provides the text, model language and or vocabulary to the students. It is also related to the TMT lesson plan. There is not enough distance, a little bit distance here. The second one is the practice stages. The students do different types of activities, that is controlled, guided and free. It may be controlled, guided and free. See unit 3 for details. Here is example. In these stages, either with the help of the teacher or their classmates, for the understanding of the input, for the better understanding of the input, this is practice type of activities, that is also called second stages. And the third stage, that is tasks. Tasks means product new something with the new ideas, that is tasks type of activities, or in lower primary we call it checking learning activities. In the stages, students get the opportunity to do something with, could be written, discussion or making something. It may be a poster, in order to use their new knowledge and language they have learned in the previous stages, that is input and practice. This must be based on input and practice. Input is the most essential part of a lesson, and if our students clearly get enough idea from input, they will do the practice type of activities. Also they have done the task type of activities, and also the previous lesson or classes. It helps them to build up confidence in using English, and they start to become communicative users of English. Okay, so we can say that the framework of an IPT link lesson plan has 3 stages. And dear honorable trainers, I think all of you are very clear of this. This is the IPT link lesson plan's format. Here is the name of his teacher, name of his school, class, unit, subject, and also learning outcomes. Learning outcomes that the students will be able to, from this topic, from this unit, from this lesson, we have some learning outcomes of every lesson. Okay, every lesson. So it may be 2, 3 or more. Creative safe environment. We need to create safe environment to do class enjoyable and interactive. Create emotion and stages, input, practice, tasks, and what activities we should have to turn in input stages, practice stages and task stages, and what techniques we should be applied. We need to be applied. So this is the IPT link lesson plan, and we have to connect with this IPT link lesson plan with the TMT based lesson plan, and what is the materials, and then evaluation tasks of activities. This is called IPT link lesson plan. Okay, then our second activity, writing learning outcomes of a lesson. Learning outcome is the core of a lesson, is the main thing of a lesson. We want to do all kind of activities based on learning outcomes. So as a teacher, we have to know what is the learning outcomes of the lesson, and according to the learning outcomes we have to set up some teaching learning activities in my lesson plan. Writing lesson plan outcomes, writing learning outcomes, identify learning outcomes is very important for planning of a lesson plan. What is, at first we have to ask, what is learning outcomes? And we have to pick up the idea from our training teachers. Identify learning outcome, then we show the slideshow. Outcomes is very important for planning a lesson because all activities are based on it. Already I have discussed it. In the curriculum, we have turbulent competencies, class-wise attainable competencies, and learning outcomes of a lesson are written. To identify learning outcomes, teachers have to get through the lesson carefully and consider the new vocabulary, grammar point and skill. Okay, remember for the is learning outcomes, is it must to provide at least one activity in your own lesson. This is a very important point. Okay, so according to Meagher, the ideal learning outcome has three parts. On a measurable verb means every learning outcomes should be preserved by a measurable verb. The important condition under which the performance is to occur, and the certain citation of a acceptable performance using short sentences. Frequently, you will not see the citation on the condition specific if they are obvious. However, sometimes adding the conditions and or the citations give more clarity to a learning outcomes. Okay, this is called Meagher. She is a psychologist, and according to his সংজ্ঞা অনুসারে সেটি তিনি বলেছেন, the following verbs should not be used in writing learning outcomes as these are not measurable verbs. We know some verbs are not measured, that is believe. How we measure it? Understand, know, appreciate, feel, enjoy, learn and think, and such type of verbs. It is not measurable, so we have to avoid this type of verb. Learning outcomes describe the measurable skill, abilities, knowledge or values that students should be able to do or demonstrate as a result of a completing of a program or study of course or lesson. Learning outcomes are student centered rather than teacher centered. It is based on student but not teacher. In that they describe what the students will do, not what the instructor or teacher will do. Learning outcomes are not stand-alone statement. Okay, learning outcome must be smart. Learning outcome need to be smart. What is smart? And you have to clarify smart. Okay, smart means S for specific. The learning outcomes should be well defined and clear. It states exactly what will be accomplished. Measurable. The learning outcome should provide a benchmark or target so that the teacher can determine whether the target has been reached, by how much it has been exceeded or by how much it has fallen short. Okay, achievable. A for achievable. The learning outcomes should be achieved by the learners within the given time and should be according to their cognitive level. So we can say S for specific, M for measurable, and A for achievable, and also R. R means realistic. Learning outcomes should be reasonable given the available resources. Learning outcomes should neither be easy nor possible to attainable, impossible to attainable. It may be possible, always possible, but somewhere is between. Okay. T for time framed or time bound. A learning outcome should include a specific time, that is 30 minutes, 35 minutes, 40 minutes, or date by which it will be completed. It is important to allow enough time to successfully implement the steps needed to achieve the objectives. So our learning outcomes must be smart. Smart means specific, achievable, reliable, realistic and time bound. And also here is a chart. S for specific, M for measurable, A for attainable, R for relevant, realistic, it may be realistic or relevant, and T for time bound or time framed or time based bond. or time based. Okay, every learning lesson plan has a specific big goal, a specific goal, and it may be measurable. Confirm our goals are attainable, verify our goals are relevant, and set a time based plan. This is SMART. Okay, already we have discussed about a smart lesson plan and also a good lesson plan. Now, dear honorable participant, you will open book class 3 unit 7 lesson 1, and in this session it may be group work. Participant will write the learning outcomes of this session and they will discuss their lesson plan in a plenary session, and if any feedback we have to provide them feedback together. Okay, then activity 3, writing and evaluating a lesson plan for English for today, class 1 to 5. Here our training teacher will make a lesson plan, good lesson plan, and we have to divided them into 5 groups: dialogue group, writing groups, vocabulary groups, story groups, and reading groups. In our new EFT class 1, it not maybe similar, but you will change it. Okay, and after 30 minutes or 20 minutes or 25 minutes, they will present their group work in a plenary session, and all together we will feedback how to develop our lesson plan. This is for group work, and when our training teacher will present their group work, we have to supply these 5 questions on the board. Are the learning outcomes relevant to the lesson? Are the written using the proper behavioral verbs and following the SMART rules? Already we have learned what is a SMART. Are they following the SMART rules? Will the input activities help the learners to get information clearly? Will the practice activities appropriate and adapt to achieve the learning outcomes? Are there any tasks of checking learning activities to ensure teacher if the learning outcomes achieved or not? Are the classroom language written against each activity? We have to provide this slide, and our training teacher followed the presenter's lesson plan according to these 5 questions, based on this 5 questions. Okay, and activity 3, explain the role of a lesson plan. Explaining the role of a lesson plan, that means we have to find out or elicit what is the role of a lesson plan, what is the importance of lesson plan, why we need lesson plan, why lesson plans is very needed to our teachers to disseminate a good lesson. Okay, so the role of a lesson plan, what would be the role of a lesson plan? At first, you think yourself and write down a idea or point in your khata. Then we have to elicit or pick up that point and hang on the board, and then we supplied the poster paper or multimedia by multimedia. Each piece of work should be planned to receive the goal. Of course, nothing can be achieved without a goal, without a good plan. It is also very true. The plan could be written or well organized in the mind. The written one is preferable for the following reason. It may be in our mind or it may be written, but written one is preferable because our mind, conscious mind, has forgotten the plan. So, if the written plan is written, then it will be we don't forget it. Okay, so it's a working documents. It leads the teacher systematically through the stages of learning lesson. It focuses on teaching aids and supplementary activities. Specific techniques and activities are mentioned in a lesson plan. It gives opportunity to think about the possible problems of the lesson in advance. It helps teachers to manage the class successfully. Clear stage of objects, inputs, practice and tasks will be help to achieve the learning outcomes. So a lesson plan is very important. Thank you, dear honorable teachers and viewers. I think all of you will stay with us. No more today. See you later in the next tutorial. Bye bye.